when the past collides with the future. This is practically impossible. How can the currently invisible reality, because of the elapsed time, come face to face with the unseen and the untouched, desirable future? Everybody knows that naturally and even scientifically, these two events are separated by some time t. In some cases, this t can be infinitely long, and in other cases, infinitesimally very small. Whatever the case may be, whoever is defining this must be able to define the parameters as a reference point. This is the story of my life, which started from the past. Unfortunately, at the time, it was my current, which looked so bleak because of the situation that I found myself in. I never knew how I was going to come out to be the person that I am. I had dreamt to be a medical doctor of note. I wanted to be the first doctor in South Africa to find the cure for HIV and AIDS. Were my dreams unfounded? Not at all. This was a time when HIV and AIDS were rife, destroying, killing, and suffocating every hope of life. There was no remorse. From the infants, unborn children, young people, all the way up to the elderly people. There was no way that everybody was looking at life the same way they used to look at life, and hence the birth of this dream of coming with a solution, of coming with a cure for HIV and AIDS. As I dreamt that way, I was not aware that there were other people who were dreaming with me, unfortunately not the same dream. My parents were dreaming of me finishing up my matric, and when I finished matric, they wanted me to bring solution to the home, which was so devastated because nobody was working at the time. The hopes were on me. And as I learned of the status quo, that the desire of my parents were for me to work, the future that I so looked forward to became bleak. I looked at myself being shut in. There were shut doors, hopelessness, no way out. My parents, whom I thought had a trust account for me to go to school, never had that because they were looking at me as that electron that was going to bring financial stability and financial ordering within the family. Little did they know that the little Buyi was also dreaming her own dreams. As this status continued to go on, not knowing where I was going to see my future coming in, I saw the interconnectedness between my past and the future that was not going to be realized because of the status that was being spelled by the situation, which spoke of closed doors and hopelessness. While in the midst of this challenge, I saw myself being drawn into a black hole. And I believe that everybody understands that in the black hole, there is no life. And what made this black hole so dark and deep was the realization that I had spoken to my parents and to myself, and I had thought that we were strongly correlated to the idea that I will go to the university and make the best out of my life. Little did I know that they had their own dreams about me. While that situation pursued and continued, and I was seeing no hope, not seeing a way out, temperatures within me were dropping. As they continued to drop, I was driven to quantum criticality. And I understand that in quantum critical state, there are some of the fluctuations that do take place. It happened in my life as well. And these fluctuations were due to somebody whom I had not met in my life, but when he came, this inner being spoke to me that you are not alone. You are not defined by the state that you find yourself at. You are connected to the higher power, the omnipresent power. While you think that all the doors are shut, there's somebody within you whom you can reach to. As this nonverbal communication went on, I began to listen to what was happening because these fluctuations continued to echo, and I started to gain energy, and as I gained energy, my hope began to be resurrected. After the resurrection of those hopes, I had to go and speak to my parents again, and I asked for 100 rand that changed my life. I'm talking about the 100 rand that made me the doctor that I am today, which I took, and then I took the bus from deep KwaZulu-Natal, coming to Johannesburg, looking for an opportunity to go to the university because that was the dream that I had. Getting to one of the medical schools in Johannesburg, they asked me 2 questions. Are you a straight 7 learner or student? Number 2, do you have money? The answer to both of the questions was no. Leaving the medical school disappointed, walking down the street of Johannesburg, not having anyone but myself, I landed into the College of Education, and I enrolled to be the teacher. I did not want to, but it was better than sitting at home again, spending another year. I'm glad to say that while I was at home for that year, this voice came at the age of 17, which is why I managed to get to Johannesburg at that particular point in time, landing into the College of Education, studying to be a physics and mathematics teacher. The doctor that was still in me continued to echo, you still want to be that doctor. You still want to be a difference maker. I passed my first year, after which I deregistered because the doctor continued to speak. After my efforts of trying to get way to this doctor, I hit another cul-de-sac. There was now another connection between my past, the one that I fought so hard to get out of. I saw again the head-on collision between the past that I was thinking I'm running away from and the future collapsing into one spot, stealing my existence, and I began to drown again. After the conversation that I told about, because this person is within me, we continued to converse, and I had to this time answer, and my answer was, let your will be done. The minute I said, let your will be done, I was introduced to the future that I thought I had missed. I was channeled from the past, and I landed on the freeway, which needed me to start running. From there, as I registered for a BSc in mathematics, statistics, chemistry, I began to be the excellent student that I had always wanted to be. Finishing my degree, went on to honors, went on to masters. Things looked okay, with minor challenges here and there, as everybody would understand, getting into a PhD. When I thought things are coming together, I am now getting to be that doctor, although maybe it's not going to be the doctor that I had desired to be. Getting to that spot, doing my PhD, hardship also knocked in, reminding me of my past, and I'm asking myself, am I going to be this doctor? Challenges crept in to a point where the finishing line came. The turning point came during the graduation day, after toiling those few years. I know that I can be saying it's a few, but for others, according to the standards of the university, they will say it's a long, long time. For me, because of my reference, it's just few years. Standing on that stage, with the supervisor having to make a specific and a very important announcement, saying, VC, this student, Buyi Sondezi, is the first woman in Africa to graduate with this PhD in experimental physics of highly correlated matter. As I stood, everything came together, another head-on collision, interconnection between my dream and the first doctor. It kept saying the first doctor, but this is not the doctor that I thought, but it is the first doctor. That's when I realized there's always an interconnection between your desires, your future, and what you are meant to do. It might not be what you are desiring, but it is what God wants you to do. At some point in time, when I had thought I am done with the books, hunger came back. I went back again and I registered for MBA at Johannesburg Business School. I went on with it and then I finished it. I'm here to say, while I was doing it, I was also registered for a Bachelor of Theology. And I'm about to finish it next year because the connection with myself and the inner being, I remembered the being who spoke, you are, not the states you find yourself in. And I'm here to probably apologize to my parents for saying no to their desires at the time they wanted me not to go to school but to work. That no allowed me to say yes to a person that I am today. Probably I'm apologizing to my siblings, 9 of them, who were dependent on me at the time to say yes. And I said no because I needed to create the future that I'm at today. As I stand here on the day called today, which is the future of my yesterday, the past of my tomorrow, I'm announcing that these 3 states exist in each and every one of us. And if we can learn to embrace them, we become the people who we are. And I thank you.